Hey, hey, how's it going? How's it going?
Unless you have your head in the sand, you would have heard about Latitude years ago.
Super exciting time to be a founder in Latin America.
Major talent with big ideas and a huge market.
Just this entrepreneurial fire. LatAm's tipped.
We're finally sort of occupying the right space globally for a region that has almost 800 million people.
Connections, mentorship, just people to talk to about your idea, that somebody that can pinpoint you to who you should talk to makes a complete difference in what you do and what you can achieve.
You want me to be on the Peloton? I'll be on the Peloton.
I would rather you be on the Peloton personally.
It was a boost of energy, definitely.
Latitude's community, it's truly the best community in LatAm right now.
One of the objectives here is just to make it a little less lonely, right?
Latitude was a real game changer for me.
I'm very optimistic when I look at the new generation of entrepreneurs in the region.
We'll see even bigger companies that solve even harder problems.
A rising tide, it's a big tide. All right. Hey, what's up, Gina?
Oh, hey, Brian.
How's it going?
Good, except that half my head is kind of missing, but I'm good otherwise.
That's
maybe
good.
we should introduce ourselves?
Yeah, it might be a good idea. I'm Brian Reckworth. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Latitude.
And I'm Gina Gotthilf. I am the COO, co-founder of Latitude. And where is Yuri?
Where is Yuri? Oh, geez. So Yuri, oh wait, he's the CTO. Remember, he's out building stuff. Remember, that's kind of an
he's the one who's
important
doing
part.
things right now.
I vowed never to start another tech company without an incredible CTO. So thankfully, he's building some stuff, recruiting engineers as we speak.
Awesome. So let's get started.
Should we kick it off? Can you kick us off for us? Maybe just get us going. While we got all these people here, I see hundreds of people. Looks like 540 people are live here. And weirdly enough, we already have $50,000 of committed investment. So we haven't even started yet. So why don't you kick us off, Gina?
Yeah, maybe I'll just be quiet and we have a bigger chance of seeing everyone invest. I'm kidding. Don't make me nervous, but it's really nice to be here. Welcome, everyone. Just a little bit about why we're here right now. As a Brazilian and a Latin American, I'm super proud to be Brazilian and Latin American, but I've seen the region be considered up and coming at least twice in my lifetime so far. And it's up and coming, and then crash. Oh, it's up and coming again, and then crash. And right now, we're up and coming. But unless we do something differently, we're going to be on the same trajectory. So we decided to build Latitude so we can capture this awesome momentum.
You're right about that. And it's this massive growth of qualified people building super ambitious companies. But the reality is the infrastructure, it's still outdated. And, a lot of times, if we look at the entire ecosystem, we're currently being stress tested and entrepreneurs are building, but some of the processes are just so manual, it makes it really difficult. And so my concern is all that's going to break unless we build these super highways to make everything more efficient and possible for tech entrepreneurship. And really, that's the goal at Latitude, right? We're building the infrastructure in the community to elevate the next generation of entrepreneurs that are solving the world's biggest problems, Latin America's biggest problems and challenges. So, I'm going to go off script a little bit. I was this morning, we got a really nice message, Gina, and you know what I'm talking about. It was a message from someone on our team, and he's actually on his honeymoon. And he reached out to me this morning, and he writes, I apologize to his wife, who's probably not happy checking messages on his honeymoon. But so Marshall wrote us. He wrote, "I've reflected a lot about how big of a responsibility it is to build Latitude, and we're redesigning the tech LatAm landscape, and it's a little bit scary, and it is kind of intimidating."
Yeah, it's pretty intimidating. It's a really big responsibility. And although we've shared the really exciting news about the large investment we received, we're really excited about it. We love being VC backed. It's super nice. But while it's nice to be VC backed, we really need to be community backed in order for this to work. And that's where we all come in. And that's why we're here.
That is why we're here.
Yeah, well, so Brian, maybe you can go into more details about Latitude, but maybe before we do that, we could just have someone from Stonks come up and explain a little bit about how this whole live stream thing works, because it could be confusing. Do we have anyone from Stonks?
Is John in the building? I hope John is in the building. Somebody.
Someone get John.
Where is John? Ali, John, somebody from Stonks, I think, is going to pop up here in a second and share a little bit more about how it works. Oh, there he is. Oh, good.
Yes.
Wow.
Good.
You guys don't need me to explain this.
We would like you to explain it anyway.
I think we're good to go. I think we can wrap it up and call it a day here, guys.
That was fast. That was fast.
It was fast and fun. So, hey guys, you guys know who I am. If not, I'm John, co-founder here at Stonks. I'm the guy who comes up and explains Goober. So we have a fake startup called Goober. If you look at the bottom of your screen, hopefully you'll see it. It is a fake startup that we created because we wanted to give something people can practice on. I don't see Goober yet, so if somebody's controlling the stage, you're going to want to do that. Do you guys have someone controlling the stage?
Good question.
Is somebody controlling the stage?
I just work here, John.
Okay. There it is. Hey, look at Goober. Wow, way oversubscribed already. So some people obviously already found out that they can cheat. They can go into View All Startups and go play ahead of time. But so Goober's on your screen now. So here's what you want to do. You want to use this opportunity. There's like 600 of you in there. What is there? There's almost 800 people in here. Practice on Goober. Let's see if we can get Goober up to like, I don't know, $20 million in commitments. Let's do it. So
I'll invest.
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, hit the invest button, right? There's a little bit of a flow there that shows you that you are making a commitment, right?
All right.
Go through the flow, commit some money to Goober, or you could do an intro request if you're not ready to full on commit right now. Go ahead and click the intro button.
If you have commitment issues.
If you have commitment issues, make an intro to Goober. That's fine, no problem. Let's see if we can get the total investment interest up over 20 million. We're sitting at 3 million right now. This is okay. 4. Okay. I see people
it's
are
working
figuring it out now.
It's working.
It's happening. I love the people that are, it's like it's play money and they're like 10K.
They're realistic.
Yeah. That's always fun to see. Wow. Okay. 10 million now. So I think people are figuring it out. I don't think we should spend much more time on this. Like this is about you guys, about Latitude. So thank you so much for doing this. We love to have you guys.
And just to be clear, John, is all this commitment that's coming in, is that for us or?
That's for Goober. That's for Goober. No, you guys.
What about the top one where you have 62 commitments that I see?
Yeah. So up at the top is you guys. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we actually already do.
Yeah. You guys can call it a day. Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh, yeah. This is mind blowing to me.
Yeah, 69 commits.
Taking advantage of this event to raise money, like on our backs. I didn't realize that was going to happen, John.
Whoops.
All right. Well, John, thank you so much. Okay, so let's explain a little bit more. First of all, this is pretty wild that there's already all this interest. Thank you, John. And by the way, Gina, you can use her for your copywriting too. She did Duolingo, and she could probably write some good stuff for you guys. I like that. If you have commitment issues, that's good. That's very on brand for you. So let's do this. Clever, witty comments all over the place. So let's we raised this $11.5 million seed round, and since we've taken a few more commitments since then, we have about $1 million left in the community, which is crazy because it looks like we already eclipsed that. But the idea is you can invest $1,000 to $50,000, so minimum checks of $1,000. We wanted to figure out a way to get our whole community involved with smaller checks. One thing that we ran up against, which is a little bit challenging, is that the accredited investor laws don't allow people to invest in this manner. But we think we might have found a way around that. So if you're not able to invest today because you're not an accredited investor, shout out to Community Round. I think pretty soon, in the next couple of months, we're going to be able to open that up so that you can invest, if you are not an accredited investor. So yeah, we're officially accepting. I think you guys figured out we've officially accepted some commitments. If you want to also invest in the fund, there's a selection that says you want an intro, and later on we'll talk more about the fund. But you can also contact us if you want to be a partner, if you want to join the team. So these are different ways that you can get involved with us. But maybe Gina, maybe you should tell everyone a little bit more about our background and why we're the right people to be building this company. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my background's eating me up right now, and that's not a good one. I'll keep working on this, Brian. But yeah, so I am Brazilian, as I shared, and I have a really traditional background for anyone working in tech, which is that I studied philosophy and then worked at a neuroscience lab, and then ended up falling into the tech world when Tumblr hired me to help them grow in Latin America. And that's when I realized there are all these tech startups in the US, and they were really interested in figuring out how to grow in Latin America, dedicated a lot of time to that, loved it, and then kind of gone on this crazy rocket ship called Duolingo when they were super, super tiny, and helped them grow from 3 to 200 million users as their VP of growth. And that was just, that was pretty lucky. There's a lot, most startups do not have this trajectory, but being part of the executive team and helping through pivots and tough decisions throughout those first 5 years was really a really educational experience for me, let's say. So I learned a lot about startups, ended up working at one of the presidential campaigns 2 years ago. But this whole time, just thinking about all this opportunity that I've had as a Brazilian and how to bring back all of the amazing connections and knowledge and tools that I'd acquired in my 10 years working in tech in Silicon Valley. And wanted to do that at scale, because mentoring startups here and there is something I enjoy, but it's really hard to really have a real impact. And that's when I met Brian and Yuri, and we started having really interesting conversations about this.
Yeah, it was a crazy time, right? We all know where everyone was about 2 years ago. I was actually waiting for the antitrust to approve the sale of my company in Brazil, Viva Real Zap, a prop tech company in Latin America. And in order to distract myself, I ended up reaching out to founders in my network, mostly focused in Latin America. And I wanted to just be helpful. Frankly, I wanted to kind of distract myself. And I ended up taking 150 Zoom calls from all these, early stage founders. And I observed two things. The first one, the caliber of talent of these founders was off the charts good, way better than the vintage when I started. And so the second thing that I observed was that despite this super sophisticated group of people that are building really ambitious companies, there was still a pretty big gap in understanding some basic things, like what type of corporate structure should you have to raise venture, how to raise a seed round, how to build a growth team from the beginning, and many other topics. And so, personally, I knew that I wanted to start another tech company. And as I said earlier, I'd vowed not to do it again without a CTO from the very beginning. So I ended up connecting with Yuri Danilchenko, and shortly after, Gene and I, we connected at a fellowship. Shout out to our folks at On Deck, a lot of inspiration there. And the three of us were all independently helping startup founders in Latin America. And so we decided to join forces, and, given that we had this shared passion.
That's right. So we started organizing live sessions during the second half of 2020. The idea was to give back and basically help. And we knew that some of the smartest people we knew were at home at the time because we were all quarantining. So we tapped into our networks, started hosting live sessions on really important topics for top tech startups. And all of the founders that we met really, really inspired us. And the results of those cohorts is really incredible. But you don't have to hear it from us. Maybe we'll bring on some of the Latitude fellows, and they'll share a little bit more about their experience. Do we have Latitude fellows on here?
Who do we have on doc? Hopefully someone appear. Do your magic. Do your magic. Boom.
Gaston
and
appear.
Go. Hey, there he is.
Amazing.
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm very well. Congrats, Brian, Gina, and the entire Latitude team. Such an amazing round, and also putting together this event.
Thank you. Thank you, Gaston. You were part of LF2, right? Latitude Fellowship 2. Awesome. Really cool. Well, maybe you can share a little bit more about what you're building. Pomelo, you've probably heard of it if you're into tech in LatAm, but maybe just give a quick overview of what you're building, and then share an anecdote about your experience working with Latitude in our fellowships.
Yeah, of course. So it's interesting because you opened up this event saying that the startup infrastructure in LatAm is outdated, and it's exactly the same for fintech. We have all this booming B2C fintech and crypto, industry, but it's all sitting on top of legacy players, legacy infrastructure. So at Pomelo, we're building like the first regional fintech infrastructure for LatAm. It's almost like an operating system to launch your fintech and scale it throughout the region with ease. Not only fintech, also crypto and embedded finance. And all of that is given as a service, regulation included. So no longer necessary to spend like 2 years and millions of dollars going country after country to try to scale your fintech, and hitting yourself against the wall and against all the incumbents out there. So it's exactly the same thesis as you guys, but just applied to the fintech space.
That's amazing. And what's the experience? I mean, when you joined, I remember it was very early. Tommy, kind of brought you into the community, and you were like, your team. I mean, some of your team hadn't even left their jobs yet, and you were kind of forming it, on the fly, and even working on your PowerPoint to like go out and raise capital. And obviously, for those that don't know, you've done that very successfully and built an amazing quality team in the last year. Today's your birthday, almost, right? Of Pomelo, right? About a year you've been in. So tell us more about the experience at Latitude briefly.
Yeah, that's correct. Exactly. Today is officially our first anniversary. Can't believe it's been 1 year. Super intense. We've raised 45 million in 2 rounds. We now have 250 people in the team spread across 8 countries, operating in 4 markets, over 30 customers, all the way from seed stage companies to kind of pre-IPO unicorns. And several million in ARR already. So, super excited about this last year, and many more to come. But going back to your point about how we joined, so Tommy has been good friends with my brother for a long time. They're childhood friends, and he reached out to me, and I was very skeptic at first, to be honest. I thought, hey, this is yet another acceleration program. It's going to be like a boring thing, but maybe I need to be politically correct with Tommy, who's been a friend for quite some time. So I ended up saying, hey, you know what, I'll join, but with one condition: you guys help me raise a seed round from top investors. And that was sort of our gentleman's agreement and our handshake. And I can only say that Latitude has been absolutely structural to us during the early days. And of course, we continue to be very close. You guys were very, very kind and generous to open up your network. And as I look at our cap table now, I think directly or indirectly, you guys had like a massive impact in all those introductions and conversations, and actually us being able to pull that together. So yeah, of course, it cost us like a 30% discount, which is your business model. It was worth every cent. I hope I get the same discount now on your rounds.
Yeah. You could commit here, but I don't know if Andreessen would like that. So, but anyways, listen, Gaston, we're super grateful, and you've been, giving back to the community, hosted some sessions, and we're really grateful for all the support. And of course, you're one of those success stories that's come out, and there's many others. And so, thank you for sharing your experience and reaching back and helping the next generation is kind of part of the ethos we have at Latitude. So, thank you for being a great example of that.
Of course. Thanks for having me and for everything that you're doing for the community.
Awesome. Bye-bye. Thank you, Gaston. That's great. So I think we've got someone else coming up. Who else do we have that's going to pop in here? This is kind of fun.
Is Angela here?
Is Angie around? Hey.
Hello, I'm here. How's everything? Congrats.
Long time no see, Angie. We had lunch in Mexico City just a week and a half ago, and you came to our launchpad party, which was super fun. So
yes, great events. You gotta repeat it in Bogota.
We will. It's definitely on the plans. Well, cool. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
No, so we're super excited in Morado to have been part of Latitude. We were recently part of last October cohort number 4, and super involved in the community. We love it, not only me, but my team. We're launching Mexico right now, and the whole Mexican community has been great with us. So yeah, super exciting to be part of this.
That's awesome. Share a quick about what you're building, just for those that don't know, because it's a pretty hot company and one that people should be keeping an eye on.
No. So we're building a beauty tech company. We're basically building the everything store for beauty shops. For those of you who know Frubana or Tool in the construction industry, we are building the same B2B commerce model, but for beauty shops. So we're constantly recruiting. So feel free to shoot a DM.
There you go. That's awesome.
And Angie, we're still an employee at Rappi when you joined Latitude, right?
Yes, it was super crazy because last October I was still working on Rappi. I'm a super early Rappi employee, so I was building Rappi and in Latitude building Morado. It was a hell of a ride, but thankfully the cohort had office hours at 4 and we made it work.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
We're so grateful for you being in the community. Thanks a lot, and congrats on everything you're building. It's super exciting.
Congrats to you guys. Keep up building the region.
All right.
Thank you. Awesome.
Cool.
Next up, we have Fede from Kavak. Is he around?
Hey.
Hey guys, what's up? How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Great. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule.
No, anytime.
So it'd be great to hear from you a little bit more. You joined the Angel Fellowship, right? So you know, we'll talk about that in a second. I think Gina's going to take us through kind of what we're building on the fellowship side, but maybe share briefly about about that experience.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I'll share 3 quick reflections of why it was so valuable to me to be part of the fellowship. First of all, I've been a pretty active angel investor, but as many of us out there, I became an angel investor by accident. So I realized that I simply wasn't optimizing that part of my life very well, and the opportunity that I had through the fellowship to hear about sessions from really large scale angel investors that had, orders of magnitude more investments that I did, or there were solo angel investments, and many practical tips that I'm even implemented today, particularly around what I consider is our most important asset, which is time, right? Time management. Where do you go deep? Where do you simply, how to add value is something that added enormous value to me. Number 2 is, I realized that my biggest strength as an entrepreneur, as an operator, is also my biggest weakness as an investor, which is, is that can-do mentality, that belief that everything can be done and there's no major obstacle that can be overcome. And the reality is, when I reflected back on my angel investments, I was saying a lot of yes, and mostly saying yes, and that's just simply not a very good and smart way to invest. And that's just because you want to help people, you think that everything can work. But when you really want to add value and to create a transformational and impact, I think that going through some sessions, particularly ones from professional investors, that will help you look at how do they make those decisions. It was incredibly insightful for me, and definitely some very concrete tips that I've been applying afterwards. And last but not least, it was another big reminder of what I believe is my most important guiding principle in business, period, be that in my day-to-day operation or in angel investment, which is first who, then what. And I believe that the network, the quality of the people that I was able to meet, it's just simply amazing. It's such a small of a world. 90% of the due diligence that I make as an angel investor is related to people. I have so many open doors now to knock, to check on those things, that it's going to make my time so much more efficient, and my ability to understand whether I could add value to that particular entrepreneur or not, and vice versa, is something that is amazing. So, I really believe that we're living through an unprecedented time in the entrepreneurial tech stage in LatAm. The ecosystem is really kicking into a flywheel effect. You have the talent, you have the market maturity, you have the capital, and it is almost our responsibility to be involved and give back, and there's no better way to do so in a community. So I'm super grateful to be part of this amazing community, and I congratulate you all for the initiative and for really helping what I believe will fundamentally push our middle classes in the next 20 to 30 years. Is going to be all of these innovations that are kicking so many barriers down, and that are going to empower people and push them to simply drive forward.
Wow, thank you, man. We're super excited to have you. Thankful, and it's great that you're reinvesting in the next generation. Everything you've learned at Kavak, and then sharing that with a whole set of new founders. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Congrats.
All right. And we've got one or two. I think we got 2 more people we're going to hear from, and then we're going to talk about the business a little bit in the second half.
That's right. Do we have Gokul around?
Hey, there he is.
Brian, hey, Gina.
Hey, Gokul, so great to have you. Thanks for joining us. You're kind of a recent, someone that joined us recently, and you were actually one of the mentors in the fellowship that Fede attended. And, you've worked at amazing companies like, pre-IPO, Google, Facebook, Square, now at DoorDash. And so you've seen a lot of cycles, and so we're really grateful that you've come in as a mentor, and we want to see more people. But I would love to hear your thoughts about why you're excited about LatAm, and why you're happy to help Latitude, and also you're an investor in the company too.
Thank you for having me, first of all, Brian. And I have to make a confession. I've invested in, I think, 350 companies over the last 15 or 17 years. But for the first 300 of them, I essentially invested in mostly US companies. Till about a few years ago, I was not familiar with the LatAm ecosystem. COVID changed all that. So in early 2020, thanks to the power of Zoom, I realized what I was missing and I made up for it. Over the last 50 investments I've done, 10 of them, 20% have been companies in Latin America.
That's
Brazil,
great.
Mexico, Colombia, Chile, Argentina, essentially, I think 8 or 9 different countries. And I think that percentage is going to grow. And why is that? It's because I firmly believe that LatAm is the most dynamic technology ecosystem in the world today. I invest across the world. I invest in Southeast Asia, India, Europe, a lot of US. But in LatAm, uniquely, the confluence now that we have Nubank, Kawak, Rappi, a huge number of successful companies, coupled with alum network. You're seeing alum networks pop up from each of these companies. The region has traditionally had strong technical and product and design talent. And then the opportunity in region is massive, 800 million people across all the countries. Together make it a unique opportunity for investors across the world to find the next great companies. And so the future is bright. But one thing I've realized over the last 10 companies I invested in, the last investments I've done, the infrastructure still is not there yet. There's a lot of manual processes. There's a lot of things that companies lack. And that's why when I met you, Brian, and I met you, Gina, I met the Latitude team, I realized that you're playing a critical role without which no ecosystem can succeed. That of building the fabric, building the enablement layer, building the on-ramp, building the infrastructure these companies desperately need. And so I think this is why I'm excited to be an investor. I'm excited to be hopefully a mentor. I'm excited to help companies and to be a part of this ecosystem going forward, to share learnings and to essentially help the next great set of Latin American companies be created and succeed. Thank you for having me.
We love having you. You have so much wisdom and incredible practical advice and experience, and just have good vibes all around. So we're super grateful. We want more Gokuls to be investing in the region. So I know you sent some of your friends to this event. Hopefully we can get them at our next demo day. And yeah, let's definitely democratize more access to great founders in LatAm for the world.
I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. And then we have, I think, our last participant for this section of the show, Lolita Taub. If you've been on Twitter, you've probably seen Lolita somewhere because she's very active. She's a huge force of nature, but also a huge advocate for minorities. And Lolita joined us for the Angel Fellowship and then launched her own fund, and actually were her first investment now for Ganas Ventures. So Lolita, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience with Latitude?
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. I think I'm like the #1 fangirl and then also investor from the Ganas Ventures side. So we are a pre-seed seed, community-driven fund investing in Web2, Web3 community-driven companies. And it was an honor to make our first investment in Latitude, because talk about a team that is living and breathing community and understands the power of it. And we're seeing it here in Stonks. We're bringing folks in, and shout out to all the ladies and everyone else who's out there investing. We need to see more dollars from all of our community, and this is how we make it work. I see Latitude as being the OS, the operating system for unicorns in Latin America, as we heard Gokul and so many others talk about the great opportunity that exists in LatAm. And Gina, Brian, Yuri, they have what it takes to do it. I've seen it front row as being an Angel Fellow. They brought the best folks in the region to activate them. I've worked with the fellows, and it is across the board, like no BS, all authentic, getting and making sure that everyone has what it takes to be able to activate the future unicorns in Latin America. And in the last years, right? And like in the last, what has it been, 5-6 years, you've seen a growth from 2 unicorns to 40 plus unicorns in Latin America. So if you are out there in the audience, especially you ladies, and want to get in on a really awesome opportunity to join a journey of enabling and activating founders, funders, and friends in LatAm, I would hopefully see you on the cap table and be a co-investor with you alongside NFX, A16Z, Ganas, and myself. So thank you again for making the time, and super excited to be on this journey with all of you.
Muchas gracias. Un abrazo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lolita. Awesome. So those are some of the awesome people out of basically 800 plus people who've joined our community in the past year and a half or so. Can we pull up our slides and we can talk a little bit about some details really quickly, team? Okay, awesome. Yeah, so we've had over 800 founders join us in the last year and a half. We've supported about 400 teams already. Excited to share that across programs, we've seen an NPS of over 90. Actually, our last cohort had an NPS of 97, which we're really proud of. And then the startups in our fellowships went from 0 to $250 million raised from the time that they actually joined Latitude to the finishing of the fellowship. And they now have a $1.5 billion total valuation of startups in the community. So that's exciting. It started with 0, only a year and a half. And so we're really excited to see what happens next. And the really exciting thing about what we're building is basically this little flywheel that we're building that kicks off a virtuous cycle of founders, investors, talent, which are all three important pieces of a startup ecosystem. So basically, founders are at the center, and founders will always be at the center for everything that we do at Latitude. We want to support founders every step of the way. And similar to how Brian and I met at a fellowship, we were both kind of trying to figure out what to do our next thing. If you're a top exec, like for example, Angie, who was at Rappi, at a top tech company, you could be at Mercado Libre or Nubank, you might start looking to figure out what to do next, but there's not really like a process to do that, especially not in Latin America. So we decided to build this Explore Fellowship. It provides founders with a supportive community, a framework, and whatever else they may need for their ideation phase and getting started. And we started seeing that that's where the most ambitious first and second time founders go to start their next company. The program's equity free, so there's no adverse selection. And we then actually started launching other programs to support fellows and support founders throughout their entire journey, like, for example, the Build Fellowship and beyond. So it started as a community and online sessions, as we said in the beginning, but now the Latitude ecosystem attracts the highest quality founders in Latin America, building big businesses like Pomelo, like Morado, and others. And then these founders go back to reinvest back into the ecosystem. So we've already started seeing this happen. And we think that over the next decade, this is going to happen even more. Successful founders and startup executives funding future startups. So we launched our Angel Fellowship, which you heard about a little bit with Lolita. It had the participation of some top founders and execs from companies like Kavak, Nubank, 99, Auth0, dLocal. And soon we're going to launch a fellowship for the top rising talent in Latin America as well, starting with CTOs and then moving beyond. And so the interesting thing about this model is that if you look at these three groups, each fellowship bootstraps the supply for the demands of the other fellowship. So founders need investors, investors need founders, and then everyone needs talent. And to quote Sahil Lavinia, who was a guest speaker for our first Angel Fellowship, it's the community that leads you to the problem, which leads you to the product, which leads you to the business. And we started with this community. We discovered a lot of problems, and we saw founders making the same mistakes, asking the same questions, and thought that maybe we could help. And so actually, Brian, maybe I'll pass it off to you right now, and you can share about your problem, the problem you faced as a founder, although you faced many. This was a big one, and that kind of helped us define what to start working on first. And then you can walk us through the business, and I'll leave you to it. I'll come back at the end.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate that. So yeah, usually as a founder, you make a lot of mistakes. Everyone knows that. And usually it's hard to quantify the value of the mistakes or the size of the mistake you make. In my case, it's actually pretty easy to calculate. I took the wisdom of Silicon Valley and I ended up creating a C Corp, which is what investors advised at the time. And despite not having any operations in the US, no customers, no employees, when we exited the business, we ended up actually paying north of $100 million in capital gains taxes in the US. Now, I have no problem paying taxes, that's fine, but it feels a little bit bad about paying taxes in a country where you don't even operate. And so what I noticed, and what we all noticed in the community, is that a lot of the founders were a little bit lost. And this was clearly a problem when you're spinning up a company in Latin America. If you want to be venture backed and you want to raise capital from those top, local or global VCs, the normal way to do it is you create a Cayman holding company. We call it the Cayman sandwich. Cayman at the top, Delaware LLC, and a local operating company. Now, that process you're kind of stuck from the beginning if you don't have any capital, because it normally costs, upwards to $30,000 or more just to create the structure to be able to operate. And so we went in and we automated, we started mapping the entire process. I mean, it's mind-numbing work if you're a founder, right? Working with a law firm in Cayman, in the US, in Brazil, or in Colombia or Mexico, wherever you operate, that is an extreme distraction. It takes months of your time, and it's very expensive. And so any time that's not focused on your products, your customers, is just wasted, mind-numbing work. And so we went ahead and did the boring task of mapping that, shout out to our team, and we automated a good portion of the process so that we can do it much faster and at a much lower cost. In fact, maybe we can we can hear from some of the founders that are our first customers. We spent the last 9 months building this product. So if someone backstage can help me, I've got a quick 1-minute video that I'm gonna pop up.
Everybody, you ask them like Cayman, and they immediately are like, oh fuck, like you're gonna start going through that.
When I was doing by myself to open all the Cayman sandwich, it was very messy to know where we stand and what we should do next.
It's my second company, and the first one we did it through lawyers. Of course, everything went fine, but it's a completely different experience.
You created a standardized process for opening up the Cayman Delaware structure. I have previous experiences in doing flips, which is a headache, a big headache. So I'm very happy about it.
You don't need anybody else to look it up for you, to review it on everything. The documents are pretty standard.
And having that kind of information super organized is super important for founders.
And obviously, well, an amazing thing is kind of cost.
We're using Latitude to go for, of course, many reasons, but saving money and getting it fast.
I have to say the process has been very good, super quick, like getting me the answers, understanding.
The platform is amazing. I love it.
It's a product that I can recommend for all the entrepreneurs.
So, the timing on this product, couldn't be better, because we've already seen a massive influx of capital in the region. I mean, if you look at, this has a lot of information, but I'll break down 2 important takeaways from this slide. On the left-hand side, you can see we're talking triple-digit growth in venture capital in the region the last couple of years. So that's incredible growth. And then, the end result of that is we're sitting on north of $15 billion that went into venture-backed companies in Latin America in the last year. And so it's pretty astounding to see where we are. And what's most surprising about this is that despite the numbers growing like crazy, it's an exciting time to be an entrepreneur in Latin America. If we take a look at the next slide, you can see how much room we still have. This is a shout out to our friends at Atlantico that put this together. What this tells you is that technology companies, the market cap of technology companies, as a percentage of GDP, is still minuscule. It's tiny. And this is a great proxy for what's to come. And so there's no doubt that over the next 10, 15 years, we're going to grow 10, 15, 20x the size of tech companies in Latin America. And that's something that's, I believe is inevitable, and why we're so bullish over the next decade. So the reality is the journey, regardless, we talked about this kind of, infrastructure challenges. It's a windy road. It's a lonely, windy road. And so, that's why we brought together a bunch of entrepreneurs. And the reality is, as we listened to the community, first you build the community, then you listen to the community, then you build solutions for the community and products for the community. And so our first stop on this long road ahead of us is, we automated the company formation. But really, when you automate the company formation, what you're doing is you're becoming the system of record for venture-backed companies. That enables you to build and layer on tons of other products and services on top of it that ultimately reduce friction. And the amazing thing about our community is we literally just sit and listen to the community. And I believe that community is the new lean startup. And so we're super grateful from everyone in our community that's given us incredible feedback and been early testers of our product. And we're really proud of what we built so far. But really, it's day one for us. This is something that, if you look at the friction points that exist, from spinning up bank accounts to cap table to hiring to getting distribution for your product, building a vertical solution for all of these things, and in some cases pulling in partners to make it more efficient, is something that we plan on doing over the next decade. And so we're excited to become the operating system of venture-backed companies in Latin America. And it seems that investors are also pretty excited about it. We've been able to bring on a great combination of some incredible investors from the leads, Andreessen and NFX, and then had local partners in Canary, Endeavor, who's always been a great partner for me as an Endeavor entrepreneur, FJ Labs, and a handful of other investors, including 12 unicorn founders like David Vélez and others that are also investing in this round. And we're actually going to hear from them in a second. I think we're going to bring up, and after the next slide, bring up, I don't know, Angela, Pete, someone to pop up and just kind of share a little bit more about why they invested. But we've been lucky. We raised 11.5 million. Since then, we've had a few recent commitments. So we've had, you heard from Gokul, who is, from our if you can go to the next slide, please. You've heard from Gokul, who is, an early investor and operator, in amazing companies. Imad also joined, Imad from Mercury. Excited to have him on board and his expertise. Avlok from AngelList. We kind of joke that at Latitude, we're what you'd get if Stanford and AngelList had a Latin baby. And so lots of inspiration from Avlok and the team there at AngelList. And then we've got some incredible fintech founders that just joined this week. Dalit from Jeeves, Jerry from Clara, a couple of unicorn founders that we're excited about. And then Claire Diaz-Ortiz, who's been a great supporter from the very beginning, an incredible advocate for women founders and investors. And that's something very important for us at Latitude as well. And so excited to welcome them. Maybe we can go back to the other slide and see if, or kill the video, or kill the slide and have one of our investors. I don't know who's going to be here, but maybe we can see if it's going to be Angela, Pete, somebody to come up and just briefly share about why they are excited about Latitude and why they invested. Thank you, team. Oh, Pete, wonderful.
What's
up, man?
Brian, how are you?
Doing? How's it going?
Doing great, really well.
Great.
This Stonks thing is amazing.
It's pretty fun, right? It's pretty fun. Cool. This is really cool because me and you met a long time ago, and you used to buy me lunch back in the day. So it's good that we went full circle from you, advising, investing into, now investing in our new company. But maybe you could share briefly why NFX is excited.
Yeah, we're so excited. You've talked so much about it, the market, the talent, the capital, the legal, the taxes, all the rest of it. But actually, the truth is that it's about the people. And it's about the people in two ways. It's obviously, I saw your journey at Viva Real. I got to meet Gina and Yuri and just an amazing group. And then the other set of people is, we've been investing in LatAm since we started NFX. And I'd meet these companies, it'd be like, oh yeah, we're part of Latitude. And this other great founder, we're like, oh, we're part of Latitude. And they're like, I would just meet these amazing founders. And they're like, oh yeah, we're in this Latitude thing. Have you heard of it? Of course I've heard of it. So it's just this sort of echo chamber that is not necessarily public, but it's behind the scenes, all the great founders talking about it. So it's terrific. Cool. So congrats. It's so exciting.
We're excited to partner with you. And, I think that we are the epitome of a network effects company. So it would make sense that we partner again. So awesome to have you on. Super excited about building this, digging in with you, James, and Gigi, and the rest of the NFX team to really make a massive impact in the region.
Great, terrific. Well done to you.
Thank you for coming by. We'll bring you back at the end and see if we have time for a few little Q&A. But thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, are we going to hear from anyone else? I'm checking the numbers right now. Crazy that we have $3.8 million in commitments. That's pretty wild. Hey, what's up?
Hey.
How are you doing?
Awesome.
This is pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool because I remember pitching you at the office, and I was telling everyone what we were doing, and then someone's like, "Oh, you should connect with the Stonks team," and then here we are. This is pretty cool.
It's great. No. This has been fun. It's been fun listening in too, and just really excited to be part of the team here. Hey, there's been a lot of great comments from all sorts of Latitude members. Fully agree with my co-investor Pete on it's all about the people. And I'm particularly excited. Like the first check that I wrote from Andreessen Horowitz was in Adi, based in Colombia. And this is where I first discovered hey, I want to give you money, and you're telling me I've got to wait 3 months while you jump through all of these hoops. And like, I have now watched countless companies go through that, and you had that on your roadmap, right? Like, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Then you need bank accounts in both countries, you need FX, you've got your cap tables, and so just as a theme, entrepreneurs in Latin America are spending so much more of their time just building their business operations, and that could be time spent on, an infinite number of other things that founders need to do. So I am thrilled for this product to exist. And I think the other point too, we often think about when making investments, starting first with the people, but it's also what's the product insight and what's the distribution insight. And I think what's particularly unique about Latitude is that it's a product in Latitude Go and the other things you're going to build, and also in the community and the Latitude Fellowship. But then that naturally becomes a distribution for all the other products that you're doing. So I think what you, Brian, Gina, and Yuri are doing is great for Latitude, but it's also just great for the ecosystem because it's going to take out so much more friction into the hundreds of companies that are to come in the years to come.
Well, we're thrilled to partner with you, and Andreessen is super community driven. I mean, you know that I wrote a book, so Ben inspired me back in the day, and hopefully we can inspire a new generation of entrepreneurs to build incredible companies that solve Latin America's biggest challenges. So thank you for believing in the mission, and excited to work with you over the years. It's going to be a long journey. It always is, but we're really optimistic about what we can do.
Likewise, us too.
Awesome. Well, if we have time at the end, we'll bring you back and just close it out with a little chat. But thank you so much for being on the journey with us. All right. So I think we're coming to the end here. We've got a couple other little items that we want to share. Thank you, Angela and Pete, for hopping on. So let's go back to the deck here. We talked about the investors. We talked about a few people coming on board, late additions, and then so. All this capital, first of all, we got to figure out what we're going to do with all this money here, because we can only take $1 million. Maybe we'll try to increase the allocation a little bit so we can squeeze some more people in, but we'll have to figure out, and we'll go through there. I mean, the way that we're going to decide this is like who can be helpful with the community and who's a good match to kind of, help us grow this. That's, but it's really cool to see all that. I see the numbers keep getting updated, 226 commitments. We love having all these, people believe in what we're doing. So thank you. So you're investing in the holding company, which is the Cayman Holding. So this is the Cayman sandwich we talk about. But there's one other element to what we're doing, which is pretty interesting, because we actually, I was doing some angel investing, and we decided to spin up a fund, actually a rolling fund. I'm going to have Tommy come up and just briefly explain, because we do have a fund. It's a little confusing. We want to clear the air on kind of how we operate. What's up, Tommy? Thank you for joining on your vacation. It's like the middle of the night somewhere, wherever you are. So thank you for waking up, setting the alarm, and being here.
Thank you, Brian. Buenas noches. Yeah, 3 a.m. here. Hi, everyone. Good to see you here. So yeah, I think the important part here is, as Brian said earlier today, raising capital is still a pain for LatAm founders, right? Yeah, there's a lot of VC money getting into the region. There's still a huge gap, and we still see pre-seed and seed founders struggling to raise their first rounds, right? So that's part of the solution we want to build at Latitude. And for that, yeah, we basically want to, democratize access to smart pre-seed and seed capital across Latin America. It's a big mission. We started with a small kind of first product or first initiative, which is our little rolling fund, right? Brian calls it the baby fund. So the rolling fund is an amazing product that Angelis has. Brian mentioned that Angelis, they've been amazing partners to us. We were the first rolling fund in Latin America, one of the first ones outside of the US. And we basically spin this out, Brian, a year ago, I think 13 months ago.
March.
Yes, and we basically started investing into some of the amazing teams that were coming through our equity-free fellowships, right? So basically, usually investing after they came through our fellowships, right? And we, our thesis is to invest in an index of amazing founders, early-stage founders in Latin America. Small tickets, 100K on average. We're fast and first. We like to invest very early and then help them raise money from the top tier VCs in LatAm and in the US. And we've raised money around 10 million right now. That's why it's a baby fund for now, from amazing LPs like top operators, unicorn founders of Latin America, like David Vélez, and also some amazing GPs of US funds. And yeah, we're happy. We're very happy with the first year we had. Right, we were very early, the only pre-seed investors in companies like Pomelo, BHub, Alinea Health. We co-invested with Andreessen, Sequoia, Founders Fund, Tiger, QD, in companies like Juno, Datanomic, and many more. Right, and this is just the first step for us, the rolling fund. Right, we want to keep scaling and decentralizing our investing. We want to work towards a family of funds, eventually having a little kind of diversity fund, and also an operator-led program for all the founders running funds. We don't think we will be able to solve this problem on our own, right? So we go to the next slide. While we're talking about this today, you can also invest in our rolling fund, right? So this whole presentation on Stonks is about you being able to invest in our holding company, as Brian said, in Latitude, the tech company, but you can also invest in our teams, right? Into our fund, which basically is an index into the best teams we're seeing coming out of Latitude, coming through the Latitude community fellowships and network, right? So we'll share. It's again a rolling fund on AngelList, so very easy. There's a link there, fund.latitude.com. You can also request an intro here on Stonks to learn more about it. And yeah, the minimum, we just lowered the minimum check to $5K for the attendees in this session. Per quarter, you're investing in quarterly funds, right? That's how the rolling fund works. You can read more about that. We recommend usually at least 4 quarters, but you can invest in just 1 quarter and then extend. And you need to be an accredited investor, right? So just to finish here, we run demo days with the portfolio companies we invest in, and we're running one of those in 2 weeks. So that could be an amazing way for you to see some great Latitude teams raising seed rounds, right? So make sure you can, and we'll be running that on Stonks too. So make sure you can apply to join that. And yeah, that's all from our side in terms of venture. So back to you, Brian.
Johnny, thank you. Yeah, and just to be clear, so this is a separate kind of fund that we have. We don't invest in every company mainly, and we have a pretty amazing anti-portfolio of companies that we haven't invested in. So there's just incredible talent, and really we just started structuring the investing side. So we do have plans to launch a more formal fund. And so for those people that join our rolling fund, we're going to be launching another fund. We're going to invest in some of the companies, but really the fund is basically just a product inside the company. Our plan moving forward is to actually take the fees and then reinvest them back into the company, into the Cayman holding company. So it's really a revenue line for our company, and it's a business unit. It's not our company. But if you want to learn more about that, reach out to ventures@latitude.com or hit up Tommy. Or go ahead and go to the rolling fund on AngelList, fund.latitude.com. So I think we're coming to the end here. We're kind of right on schedule. This is just the early days here. I don't know if we have an opportunity to patch in Linda. It would be amazing if she can jump on, just so we can get some inspiring words here from Linda. Linda.
Hi.
What's up? How are you?
Great. This has been amazing to listen into.
It's so cool that I know how busy you are, and for you to make time, we really appreciate it. I wanted to kind of seal the deal here with having you, because, one, you blazed a path for so many entrepreneurs with what you've done with Endeavor. I've benefited, massively by being part of Endeavor. So I don't know, maybe just share a little bit more about, why you're excited. I know that you don't manage the fund, and that's Alan's thing with Endeavor Catalyst, but
I see every entrepreneur that comes through, and I know help on every investment. So I know, even though he manages it, I know every investment. It's why we're so proud to invest in Latitude, and it's such a full circle moment for me, Brian, being here and listening to you for a few reasons. One is, Endeavor celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. We're now in 40 markets around the world. But we started, of course, in Latin America, where I was chica loca for even assuming there were these high-growth, investment-worthy companies. No one thought that. Now we have 60 unicorns and billion-dollar-plus companies in our network, but no one thought emerging markets, and especially not Latin America, could produce these things. You and I met in 2015, and I remember our very first meeting, Brian, even though you were talking about Viva Real and you were coming through the Endeavor process, you were talking about building the ecosystem. It was the first thing you said was about ecosystem building. And what I'm so proud of with Latin America is the community, you mentioned community that's been built. In the last 2 days, I've spoken with Jerry Afar, I've spoken with Sebas, of Rappi. I've spoken with Mate of Loft. I've spoken with Martin Migoya of Globant. I've spoken with Paulo of 99, right? It's this community still, and everyone, I'm meeting with David Vélez next week. And you have been someone who wants to operationalize the pain points around community, and that is what you and your great team at Latitude are doing. And like you, I'm even more excited about the next decade to come. We're seeing incredible founders. By the way, Pomelo keeps getting mentioned. I was talking about the Pomelo with our team in Argentina, so we're expecting you to become an Endeavor company. But Brian, what you saw was these very specific, tangible pain points that founders are having, and Latitude is going to be able to solve these in a friction-free way. It's so exciting. And I'm so proud to be able to partner with you, to be able to invest in you, and to be able to work with you on the next phase of the journey.
Thank you so much. It's incredible to have you as part of the journey. I want to bring Gina back on stage too. She's a fangirl too, so it's great to have her on stage with us. But it's really great to go full circle, like you said. And I'm really proud of being part of Endeavor. And hopefully we graduate dozens, hundreds, thousands of Endeavor entrepreneurs in the region. Gina, anything you'd like to share as we kind of close out here?
No, super exciting event. Linda, I am a fangirl. I've been a fan of Endeavor forever, so I'm really excited that we'll be able to graduate a lot of founders into the Endeavor program and help grow entrepreneurship even more throughout the whole region and beyond. So thank you for coming. This has been amazing. We're at, I think, 400% oversubscribed. Brian.
That's amazing.
That's
Can
so
I say
cool.
one last thing with you guys and Yuri? I mean, I always look in founders of, are you solving a real pain point, and are you the right people to be solving this pain point? And that is what Latitude is. You guys, as the founders, are the right people, and it really is a real pain point that is going to, pave the way for so much more growth, for so many more jobs, for so much more wealth creation. It's so exciting, and I just. When you find the right team at the right moment with the right idea, it's what makes me continue to be excited what I do. So I just want to thank both of you and Yuri, and then just, as I said, so just proud to be part of the Latitude journey.
Thank you so much, Linda. We appreciate you, and you've always been a great supporter, and we look forward to growing the ecosystem together. So thank you.
Mwah.
All right. Bye. Appreciate it. So I guess just closing out here, Gina, I think that what we should do is, kind of end this by thanking our community because, we're able to do this because of all the founders that, one, either mentor founders, lead sessions for founders, that help each other and really just, have that give first mentality and that give first spirit. And so I think that we're really lucky to be building. It's at the center of our ikigai where we're able to balance, kind of our passion, what we're good at, how we can make money, kind of in this confluence of elements. So I'm having fun. Yuri didn't jump on. I don't know if he's going to come say hi, but that's okay. He likes to be behind the scenes and execute. But it's super fun to be building this with you, and we're grateful for the 254 people that have manifested their support and interest in building Latitude to evolve the next generation of tech companies to reshape and build the future of Latin America.
Right. And this isn't about the money. It's about being community backed. It's about all of us chipping in a little bit, meaning I believe in the future of Latin America. I believe in what we're doing and actually working towards it so that we can, as we said in the beginning, sustain this massive up and coming moment that we're seeing.
Vamos LatAm.
Vamos LatAm.
By the way, we're always good at the time. Look at that. 1 minute. Let's give everyone a minute back of their lives and just say thank you.
Muchas gracias. Obrigada. See you very soon, and thank you for coming.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.